Jussi Mäntysaari, Lontoo. Ei olla kuitenkaan tekemässä politiikan raporttia, vaan ollaan menossa haastelemaan Keane-yhtyettä. Autot kulkee väärällä puolella ja ihmisiä on paljon, mutta meidän olisi tarkoitus kuitenkin löytää koko klubi, missä Keane tänään esiintyy. So we're here at the backstage area of the Coco Club, this huge backstage hall, you could say. With me I have the band Keane. This is my first time ever in London. Do you think this is a good place to start visiting London?
Camden's a pretty famous area for, you know, tourists to go to. I think it's probably a little bit less glamorous than they would hope, if we can put it that way. But
it's good for music.
It's good for record shops and yeah, a lot of the first pubs that a lot of bands play are in Camden. There's a place called the Dublin Castle, just small back rooms in pubs and bars, and a place called the Barfly, which is very well known. And you know, we've played most of the venues in Camden more than once, you know, over the last 10 years, you know.
What about the places where you started playing in? What type of places were those?
Well,
bar corners? Or...
There's a place around the corner called the Falcon, which has closed down now. Well, it's still there, but I think it's being turned into apartments or something. Actually, the other day we played it in Kentish Town at a club called the Forum, which is like 2,000 people maybe, and right next door to it there's a tiny little pub called the Bull and Gate where you get about 150 people in, and we played there, I don't know, 5 times maybe, just all like 1998, 99 and 2000, and every time you go there you see this massive venue next to it, so and you always think one day will we get to play there. So that's, I don't know, London's like that. There's always a small venue and a bigger venue close by, so you always dream about playing the bigger venues.
So I was going to say, it was great. Richard was talking about the Bull and Gate. It's one of those places that's got this great history of bands coming in to play in it. And it was about, what, 3 years ago, maybe? They said they were basically close to shutting it down, and they were asking for bands to come along, bigger bands, you know, bands who'd gone on to be more successful, to come back and play again. So we were kind of delighted to actually go back there, and I think we'd just come off a very big tour, and we were suddenly back in this sweaty old rock venue with, you know, 200 people in it, and it was a really, really magical thing to go back to doing. Actually, it kind of reminded us of the good old days, and we were only too pleased to be a part of helping save that place.
Well, let's go into Perfect Symmetry. Of course, your third album coming out soon. You've been always labeled as this piano rock band, but listening to Perfect Symmetry, this kind of label will outdate itself.
Good. Yeah, we're very, you know, I think we're pleased that we've made a record that, you know, will change some people's perceptions of us. I think that actually a lot of our fans have this perception of us as a band who are very adventurous and want to keep reinventing themselves, and so they've kind of gone on this journey, this particular journey with us anyway. But yeah, I think a lot of people are quite surprised to hear what we're doing. But for us, it's more just that's who we are. You know, we've always wanted to change. We've always aspired to be like, you know, people like David Bowie and the Talking Heads and the Smiths and, you know, U2, bands that just go against the grain and do things differently.
I started thinking, because you play musical saw in this album.
We didn't play it. We're not very good at it, but yeah, we did use it on the record.
I started thinking of this label, Musical Saw Rock.
Yeah.
For the next 3 records or something like this.
I think the thing about any band that is really interested in making music as an art form rather than just a way to make a quick buck, you know, that the story of that band and how their, you know, ways of creating music develop over, you know, 5, 10, 20 years or more. You know, that's the interesting story, I think. You know, if you judged Radiohead on Pablo Honey or Bowie on, you know, whatever his first album was with the laughing gnome on it or whatever it was, you know, or, you know, any of those bands, it takes, you know, a few albums for the story to develop, I think, and the great bands, you can't just judge them on their first 10 songs, you know. It's and I think, you know, we do have a very modern obsession with novelty and just wanting to know. You want to be able to define a band by their first album, and you know, any great band is going to develop and experiment and grow, and the story is going to get more and more interesting the more time you give it.
You've mentioned Bowie now at least twice in this interview, and you also went to Berlin to record part of the album like Bowie did in the 70s. Was this the original idea of going there, or why did you decide to have Berlin and Paris as your recording?
Well, it's interesting you should mention Bowie, because we actually heard today from a source, someone who knows him. Exactly, I have no idea who they are. Well, you know,
a condiment.
Yeah, indeed. That he really likes the new album, because I think we tried to get a copy to him through a source.
Through a go-between.
How did this sources happen?
I have no idea.
One of our sources went through a go-between to meet one of his handlers, and
exactly. Anyway, well, he really liked it.
But you know, that story of Bowie in Berlin, and also, you know, U2 with Acting Baby, which is another record we all love, and Violate, and you know, Lou Reed and Iggy Pop, and lots of great art, you know, visual art and so on has come out of Berlin as well. And it was almost too obvious a place to go that we almost didn't really want to go there, but it just seems to be a place that is so creatively, you know, on fire at this particular moment in time, and we just wanted to go to the place that would inspire us the most. And it seems so many people were saying, you know, that Berlin is the place to be, and all the kind of work that's gone on in the last 20 years to kind of bring the city back together and revitalise it is really coming to fruition, and there's this great sense of energy on the streets.
Well, now's my time to thank you very, very much for this opportunity to interview you. I would still hope that you would come someday to Finland to perform. I'm gonna see your gig tonight, but the rest of Finland will not, because they're not here.
It's a shame. It's a big shame, but I'm sure we will at some point soon. We have been, of course, before, so we look forward to coming again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.